There are many types of functions that we can use, and we're going to look at some different types of functions over these next few videos. The first one that we're looking at is a linear function, which we've already spent some time with linear equations. All of the characteristics can be translated to linear functions that we had learned from linear equations as far as the slope, the y-intercept, and writing the equation of a line. The linear function will have this form: f of x equals mx plus b, right? That's the y equal mx plus b that we saw in a previous video with linear equations. And the domain, of course, is all real numbers, negative infinity to positive infinity, since these linear functions will not have any fractions or square roots. And so I've got two examples here that we can look at together. The first one involves a depreciation example. In this case, we have a car that's purchased for use by the manager of a firm at a price of $34,000. And this car is depreciated using a straight line method over 5 years. What will be the book value of the automobile at the end of the 3 years? And so if we're depreciating over 5 years, that means that we're making the assumption that over 5 years, it has a depreciation value of $0. So we first need to be able to find an equation, right? We need to find a function. Okay, so what information are we given? Okay, we know that the original price of the car is $34,000 at time zero, right at year zero. So this would give us the first ordered pair, 0, 34,000. And we're also given that it's depreciated over 5 years, right? So at year 5, it will have a depreciation value of 0. And so what's the book value of the automobile at the end of 3 years? So if we find a function, then we can simply plug that 3 into the function to find the book value. So we're trying to find this function. Since we know it's a linear function, it follows a straight line model, then we can use this f of x equals mx plus b. Well, so if I have 2 points, then I can find the slope. That's the difference in the y value, 0 minus 34,000. Divided by the difference in the x values, 5 minus 0. And so negative 34,000 divided by 5 will give us negative 6,800. This is the slope. And once I have the slope, I've got a point. I could use the point slope formula to find the equation, to find the function. Right, but one of these points are special. Right, this first one is a special point. Why? Because the x value is 0. If we have an ordered pair with the x value being 0, that means that this is a y-intercept, and so the b is 34,000. So we don't have to show any work there because of that special point. So we have a slope, m is negative 6,800. The y-intercept b is the 34,000. So the function is negative 6,800 plus 34,000. So now we can answer the original question to this problem: what will be the book value of the automobile at the end of 3 years? So we have x equal 3. We'll simply substitute 3 into the function. Should be an x there. So negative 6,800 times 3 plus 34,000. That's negative 20,400 plus 34,000, which gives us a book value of $13,600 at the end of 3 years. Okay, now the second example is trying to determine which one is a better option, right? We've got option one, option two, which one should I go with? In this case, we have Ace Truck Leasing Company that's leasing a truck for $25 a day and 50 cents a mile. Acme Truck Leasing Company leases the same truck for $20 a day and 60 cents a mile. If a customer plans to drive at most 30 miles, which company should he rent from for a single day use? And so we have these two scenarios. And we see that, of course, the Ace Truck Leasing Company, it's more per day to rent, but it's cheaper per mile. So it depends on how far you drive as far as which one is going to be better. We can follow a straight line model for this because we're just being charged a certain amount per mile. So if we find two functions, one function for the Ace Truck and another function for the Acme Truck Leasing Company, then this will give us something to start with. So can we find a function for the Ace Truck Leasing Company? Well, we know that it's a flat $25 a day, and we're only talking about 1 day rental in this particular case, right? So the flat rate rent is $25 a day, and then it's 50 cents per mile, right? You can think of that 50 cents as a slope. It's a rate of change, right? That rate is going to, that amount is going to change based on how far you drive. So this 50 cents, that is the slope, right? And X being the number of miles that we're driving, right? We can determine how much will be charged by multiplying the number of miles times the 50 cents. And then we'll need to add that $25 at the end of that, right? Because even if we drive 0 miles, it's going to cost us $25 for that 1 day, okay? And then we can find the function for the Acme Truck Leasing Company, same way. They charge 60 cents a mile, that's 0.6 times the X, and they are charging a $20 flat fee plus the mileage. All right, so this function would be 0.6x plus 20. All right, so now we're going to drive it at most 30 miles. Which one should we rent from? All right, an easy way of doing this is to plug the 30 into both functions and see which one is cheaper. All right, so we would have 0.5 times 30 plus 25. And that would give us, 0.5 times 30 is $15 plus the 25. That gives us a total of a $40 charge. That's for the Ace Truck. Now, what about the Acme Truck? Again, we're plugging 30 into the function g of x, and that's 0.6 times 30 plus the 20. 0.6 times 30 is 18, and then the 18 plus the 20 is 38. All right, so based on our analysis here, we can see that the Acme Truck Leasing Company is going to be $2 cheaper. So we would go with the Acme instead of the Ace Truck. Now, even though that we're getting charged more per mile with the Acme Truck Leasing Company, we're only going 30 miles, so it's working out better if we go with that Acme Truck Leasing Company. Now we're going to work in the next video more on this concept. We're going to call this a break-even analysis. You know, how do we know which one that we want to go with, and what's that cutoff? You know, we can determine how many miles that we can go that would cause a break-even, right? It wouldn't matter whether we go with the Ace Truck or the Acme Truck Company. You know, if we're going, you know, a certain number of miles, or there's a certain number of miles we can go to where it doesn't matter which one we go with. That's the break-even analysis. We'll see this in the next video and see how that works with some examples.